Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hola. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks. Happy Cinco de Mayo. My name is John. I'm joined by Andrea. We're going to talk about pop culture things,
Mhm.
and how our weeks were and all that stuff. How have you been?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's been an eventful week for me. Kind of a lot of fun stuff going on, both pop culture related and personally. Um,
Okay.
got out and played some softball yesterday. It was a beautiful day to do so. Thank you, Minnesota, for not snowing for once. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. But I had not exactly cleared the cobwebs out of my sad body yet. And I am extremely sore today. So while it was a good time, it was definitely like, whoa, man, I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, that can take a bit for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well,
I
especially after having a baby and whatnot. No big
I
deal.
mean, excuses, whatever.
Excuses.
Hmm.
Already starting with that sass with that drink, John.
Yep. No, I would do that regardless, for sure.
Sass regardless.
Yep. Um, so yeah, well that's fun. Getting
Yeah.
outside, being active. Today's not so nice for that kind of thing.
No,
Like
no,
right now it's been raining and stuff.
yeah, it was a good thing our game was yesterday. 'Cause, it was,
Hmm.
chilly but sunny, so kind of like a mixed bag, but we'll
Hmm.
take it in Minnesota. We'll take it.
And did you win?
We did.
All
Yes. It
right.
was it was a
Nice.
tight game, but we did. I think we might have won just by one. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I got some good hits, and that was good. Definitely the first ball of the game, though. I play outfield, and the first ball of the game was a huge swing by one of their best players at the fences. So I was running right away, and I was like, "Oh man, hopefully this isn't hopefully this isn't how the entire game is gonna go, because I'm
Yep.
not ready for that." But
Yep.
it was still fun.
Nice. Yeah, I can't remember when I've last played a sport, unfortunately. I think it's been a while. I think I subbed for a volleyball team Val Nuke were playing on, and then
Sure.
golf for a
Yeah.
bachelor party, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. So yeah.
Yeah,
Well, what else?
I think I played golf last year. It's hard to tell because sports again were semi shut down per
Mm,
COVID, but I think softball and golf were the last two I played. So,
okay.
but yeah, other things that I did this week. I continued watching Clannad, which was very fun. It's continuing to be like a cute high school slice of life, but juxtaposed against something vaguely hinted at that's supernatural and
Okay.
a bit larger, than the very ordinary and domestic issues that are currently facing our characters. So I'm intrigued to find out where that's going. And then speaking of supernatural, I started Shadow and Bone, the book series. That's
Okay.
what the Netflix
So you
series is
started the
based on.
books,
I did,
or you started?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Because I'm curious, because so many reviews said that the Netflix series they thought was better than the books. And
Sure.
so often I find that's not the case. So I'm just so intrigued to find out how that could be. So I felt like I
Yeah.
had to go to the source material, read that first, and then dive into the Netflix series. Um,
Because the show is out now, right?
it is, yes. I think it was actually just
Okay.
released last week, so it's not terribly um, uh,
It's not
old
not old.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I couldn't remember if just reviewers had gotten to it yet or if it was generally available. But
yep, it's generally available, but yeah, it's new. So we'll see how that goes for me.
now I see in your notes that you downloaded the Resident Evil demo,
Hmm.
but did you play the Resident Evil demo?
I have not yet played it. Um,
Okay. Is it still live? I think
Yeah.
you can play yet this one.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
So
not that timed thing.
it's timed from when you download it.
Play.
So you
Oh,
only have you only have so much time to play it once you've gotten it.
because you can
But
only play it for an hour.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you only have so much time to play it. But so originally the demo was just going to be available May 1st, and you were also going to have like a short time window in which to simply access the download and access the demo. But now it's stretched out through the whole week leading up to the release of the game. So it's still available. Just throwing it out there for people if you were excited about it, if you were bummed that you were maybe going to miss the window on May 1st. I think that was Xbox's only window, and then that was one of the windows for PS4. It's now extended throughout this whole week, so it's still available.
But do you really need the demo to know
You
if you're going to
do.
buy it? You do?
I mean,
Okay.
not to know if I'm gonna buy it, but other
Oh,
people
okay.
might be,
Well,
you know,
sure.
on the
Yeah,
fence.
absolutely.
So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, other people should get out there, and I'm just excited. I wanna see what the gameplay is like. So yeah, I downloaded
I
it
mean,
not to like make up my mind, but more just for funsies.
I feel very obligated now. Like if you're going to play it, I have a couple friends that are interested in coming on the podcast to talk about it. So it's like I definitely need to play it to make
Absolutely, you
sure
do.
that I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How'd our poll turn out? Anyone
You're
else vote in
currently
our poll?
winning, so
I
if that's
mean,
why,
as
if
I
you're
should
being
be.
sassy by asking that again. Oh no, how's our poll? Am I winning still? Yeah. Yeah, so check out our Twitter poll, Popcast on the Rocks. We've got a tweet out from May the 4th concerning Star Wars. So I am a proponent, when I watch the movies, I am a proponent of watching them in theatrical release order, because to me, that's the way they were put out. So that's the way I want to watch them. Plus,
Sure.
I love the older Star Wars, and it just like gets me in the mood to watch the rest of them. So that's the way I prefer to do it. But I know there are others, some people, some crazy people out there who like to watch them in chronological order, which
Yeah,
I get makes
who would
sense.
think of that? Watching the
Who would do
story in
that?
order.
Who would do that?
Yeah.
Like no great writers ever, because great writers always throw you like in the middle of the action in media res, and then you have to like and then you have to like Tarantino it and figure yourself out where you are. So
That's
me and
definitely
Tarantino.
a Lucas philosophy for sure. But I mean, it applies to, I mean, in the Phantom Menace, episode 1, you just are dropped in on a cruiser, and you have, if you've never seen any of it, oh, some people are going to be ambassadors for some sort of trade negotiation. Where are we? What do we, you know, what's going on? Whoa, these people have laser swordy things. What is that?
Boy, how
I mean,
new
I can
is
only
this person to Star Wars?
I know. You can only
You're a
imagine,
fictional
you know.
person.
Well, your child someday, right? You know,
That's true. That's true.
when I get to a certain,
She will watch episode 4 first.
I just got angry, like inside when I just said that and I thought about it. I'm like, oh no, you're gonna impact this poor child's life in the wrong way
In
here.
the right way. I mean,
No,
okay, so each film, here's my thought. Each film drops you in the middle of the action and then just expects you to like figure yourself out. So each film is like a microcosm for the way that the entire like film verse has to be watched. You have to be in the middle and then get your way back out. Just saying.
that's stretching.
No.
You're stretching.
No.
So
I am brilliant. Me and
let
Lucas.
me make this case. Let me make this case, especially for a kid. The films grow with it. There's a perfect thing to grow with a child. Like if you, the first film is so bright, It's very bright. The color palette is very, very colorful. It's the most vibrant of all the films. And then your like protagonist is a child as well.
Yeah.
You know, and you got Jar Jar Binks. Kids won't mind about Jar Jar Binks at all. I think he's silly. Haha, Qui-Gon cut his tongue. Haha. All that stuff. Then you can go like you could wait some time. Then you could like read the I don't know, maybe there's some children's books or something like that, and then go to episode 2, which gets considerably darker. Like just literally in like the color scheme gets darker, and you start dealing with more mature themes. You're dealing with love and the beginning of war and keeping secrets, from your
Teenage
mentors and all that stuff. Yep. Exactly. And then you go to the next one and you're in war. And now it's like it's betrayal time. Things get sad, like the Order 66, like it makes sense as a child to grow with this. And then by the time you're at episode 4, the galaxy's in shambles. All right. Vader's wiped everyone out. They've gone through and purged everyone. So it's like, I know they're all family friendly, whatever.
Ish.
But yeah, ish. And that's the thing too. After episode 2, you can spend like 2 years watching all of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'd have to pause in her movie education because the first trilogy ramps up. It's like 0 to 60, like you were saying. Like the first one is so adorable, and I was just thinking about it, like, oh yeah, like that's so cute. She'd be a child protagonist, like you said. The world is very colorful. It's fun. Like all the quote unquote alien races are very like benign. Everybody's like cute and cuddly and whatnot.
Yep.
But yeah, then by the time we get to like episode 3, it's
killing younglings.
There's killing younglings, like childbirth. There's limb loss and maiming.
Yep.
Like hardcore betrayal. People get shot by the clones who turn. Yeah, it's a little bit much. So then I was thinking,
take your
But then I was thinking, like, the original trilogy, like, sure, there's like some scary parts, but like we end with like the most adorable, cuddly Ewoks. Like, how is that not child friendly?
Well,
they're giant.
No, absolutely it is.
Well, they're not even giant. They're like medium-sized teddy bears. So it's kind of like a weird opposite. Like, I wish I could like mishmash and show her like episode 1 and episode 6.
Yeah.
But there's no connecting those. There's no understanding that she could get to.
Well, and I don't know. I was going to say, and then I thought about it for a second. I was going to say that I think you also appreciate the original trilogy, particularly the end, more as an adult. But I think you also appreciate some of the stuff in episode 3 more as an adult too.
Absolutely.
Like anytime we talk a little more serious topics. So I don't know.
It's a conundrum. I mean, we got a couple years to settle this, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm still leaning towards episode 4. We'll see where Chris lands. I don't think he answered our poll on Twitter, so I'll have to get him to answer. I mean, okay. I won't be able to see it's him either because you can't check on your poll answerers, your poll respondents. So he could do it secretly.
Ashley and I are gonna have to scheme, like, you're gone for a bit or something. We put it in. Oh, but she's seen it. She saw episode 1. You can't.
Oh no!
Do anything else now. Gotta go forward.
Right? Yeah. Well, all right. I now know the first time you volunteered a babysitter, I'll know what's up.
Yeah. Alan mentions extending lightsabers are coming. Did you see any of that? I didn't watch the video, but I heard about it. The Disney theme parks and stuff, they're going to be releasing it's always clickbait. It's like real lights. It's not a real lightsaber, but it extends. I think the way they explain it is kind of like a tape measure, how it rolls up. Sure. And so, they're doing some sort of new saber that extends.
Wow. I had to read that twice.
or condom, Alan says, I guess.
So yeah, I was gonna say, so he was going for it.
Yep. Yeah, no, I have my lightsaber that I really like, so I guess I'm okay. But it's exciting to see that they're making some progress in bendy materials.
Much like phones, phones and lightsabers now can bend.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we're working on the essentials here.
That's right. See what else? Well, we're talking about May the 4th. You had asked about that. You put up the poll. Did you do anything for May the 4th?
Other than watch the movies, not really.
So you did watch some on the 4th.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's tradition.
Did you say that and I missed that, or
No, I was I was going right into our poll because I'm excited. I want to know. People got to answer. People got to settle this debate here. And I feel like there's got to be more of people like me out there. But if I'm unique, if I'm a unicorn over here, like I got to know that too.
There's lots of people that are just going to, I mean, there's all kinds of mixed opinions. Obviously, people are going to say, well, just watch the original trilogy and that's it. Right.
I can never do that though. Like knowing all the other stuff is out there doesn't mean I want to go back and rewatch all of it all the time because like I'm probably gonna watch Rise of Skywalker, maybe once or twice more in my life, and that's enough.
Oh, I'm done.
But
I'm done.
Well,
I'll never make my kid watch those movies. The prequel or the sequel trilogy, not happening. It's banned in my household.
So I feel like if she's gonna watch it, I'm gonna watch it with her to make sure she can make it through.
Censor it for her, like okay, this it should have been this way, but it wasn't.
Exactly. I mean, she's gonna get my notes whether she wants them or not. She's gonna get my commentary. But yeah, I mean, just like knowing that the other ones are out there, I couldn't have not watched them at all. Like they all, like to me, deserved one viewing, and then
yeah, and so you gotta not forget too. Once you go start out of order, then everything's gonna. I mean, everything is out of order because then you have Rogue One and you have Solo, a Star Wars story, and also now like where do you place those? Like, I think it would be magical as a kid to start episode 1, watch episode 2, then watch all of the Clone Wars, then watch episode 3, then watch all of Star Wars Rebels, then watch, I guess I did need to throw in the Solo movie in there earlier too, but somewhere in there. And then Rogue One, and then A New Hope, and
right. Give my kid the opportunity that we never had because obviously they were being released, haphazard, just
play
whatever.
The Star Wars game in there, like play this in here. That's canon too.
True.
So.
Yeah, this is gonna take some serious thought.
Yeah. Or admit that Star Wars is dead and don't watch it ever again.
Yeah.
Don't show it to your kid. How about that?
Not possible. This is the important part of child rearing right here. It's like the big decisions. Like whatever about like wherever she's going to daycare, I gotta sit down and like map out how she's gonna watch Star Wars.
I mean, Pete is showing his kids like lots of anime. I'm very proud of him for that. That's it's cool to get them started on that. They get very excited to watch My Hero Academia and stuff, and some of it's a little scary for some of them, but like it's they get past it and it's okay. So
yeah, I mean, there's definitely certain ones that I've watched that I would love to introduce our daughter to, age appropriately, obviously.
Yeah,
because there's definitely stuff like and we'll get to this later, but like Castlevania that she's not watching right away.
Yep. Well, while we're on Star Wars, and we haven't talked about Star Wars in a while, I listened in the tractor while I'm planting. I get lots of time to listen to different things, and some of them are very useful, some
Mm-hmm.
not so much. I did listen to some Star Wars stuff,
Okay.
actually, and there's a rumor going around that because Disney decided to fire one of their actresses from The
Mm,
Mandalorian,
right.
um, Dave Filoni or John Favreau
Mm,
is really upset because he didn't have a say in that, and he created that character. And then the
okay.
idea is that in their roadmap was a show that she was going to star in that was
Oh.
in the works. And again, the rumor is that this character has okay, this is I'll say minor spoilers, but it's so unconfirmed that like take it or leave it. That
Okay.
she is somehow related to like Princess Leia's adopted parents. Something with more important with Alderaan.
Okay. Okay.
And so there was going to be a separate show with her, and now she's gone. And so now what happens to this show? Like, does it get completely rewritten? Does it get scrapped? What becomes of it? So supposedly John Favreau is pushing for more control over his shows, more
Mm,
direct control, and that they might be asking Gina Carano back. Now I don't know if she
interesting.
would say yes. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if he
Sure.
can get this authority there or not,
Right.
but
Right.
that's the latest scuttlebutt.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
Alan asked Senator Bail Organa. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would seem to be the implication, is like not a relation to Leia directly,
Mm-hmm.
but some sort of in-law thing or something, because
Sure.
so
Interesting.
yeah.
Boy, I mean, if anyone's earned, the right to get a few things and a few favors thrown his way, Jon Favreau. I mean, the launcher of the MCU. I mean, wouldn't
Right.
wouldn't he be the person? I
I know.
mean, the man behind Iron Man. I mean, how could he
Hmm.
not?
And I'd like to know the numbers, but probably also the biggest or close to, WandaVision's up there. I would like to know what brought in more viewers, WandaVision or Mandalorian at this point.
Boy,
But
I want to say Mandalorian. Um, just for like the sheer fact of like it was so hyped. I mean, it's Star Wars. There's more seasons, there was a
Baby
time,
Yoda,
Baby Yoda. Um there was a time when that was like the big draw for Disney. So I feel like even if it didn't have more viewers, it seems like it has more viewers because so many people signed up, I think, for Disney Plus because of it.
hmm
Whereas those people who might have signed up for WandaVision were probably already there. So it looks like,
right.
like more subscribers. So I'm sure that's hard to quantify.
I mean,
But
I feel like also it probably, the fandom being so split over Star Wars, it was
mm,
really the kind of, we had this moment where we had 2 seasons of Mandalorian that really unified, it seemed like, most sections of the Star Wars world.
yep.
And
Hmm.
I would think Disney had to like that. Marvel didn't really have that issue going in. It's generally speaking, most people were pretty happy with how the last phase concluded with Infinity War. And so they're just more
Endgame.
excited for more. Yeah. Yeah, Endgame, yeah. So I don't know. But
Adam,
I'm
I'm
sure we'll
one of
never
those.
really know that.
Yeah. I'm
You're one of
uh
those
I'm
what?
I'm one of those few people who did not like Endgame the way
See,
that it
that's
ended.
amazing. Did we talk about this? Because I didn't
Yeah.
either. Okay,
Yeah,
we did. Okay.
we definitely talked about this. I think we had some similar opinions and then we had some differing
For different
opinions on
reasons.
why um we didn't like Endgame. And I think my differing opinion was the whole like Iron Man dies and Captain America gets to go get his happily ever after arc. that I was pretty pissed about.
Yeah, we should tell everybody watching this podcast that I'm sorry, but it is de facto that we're going to have Marvel and Star Wars spoilers.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say like Endgame's been a while now, so I mean, like, you know, spoilers and sorry, but also like,
I mean, there's some Marvel movies I haven't seen, and I still will accept if I get spoilers because it's completely on me. It is my fault. It's been within my power. I haven't seen the first Captain America.
The first Captain. So you've seen subsequent, like the second.
I've seen every Captain America except for the original.
Ooh, definitely see that one. That one's my favorite, actually, out of the three.
Wow, I mean, I think Winter Soldier is one of the best Marvel movies out of all of them. So
Captain America's trilogy is very uneven for me. I like the first two, and then I just absolutely hated Civil War. Just could not.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, that's kind of the like incubating egg for this podcast was our discussion of Civil War. Because because I ultimately agree that it's not my favorite one. I think it's one of the weaker entries. But again, for different reasons, I suppose. But yeah, I'm always, and of course this came out around the same time, I believe, as Batman versus Superman. I'm almost always opposed to bigger budget things doing the whole like excuse to make our heroes fight.
Right, infighting.
I have to say that I think that if it was going to be done, they did it about as well as can be done in Civil War. It just, but I think we disagree right on like who should be where, taking what position, which is obviously very difficult for them to figure out, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure there were multiple in the writers' room. I'm sure there were multiple iterations of the teams, you know, people arguing different sides of who should be where. And I mean, ultimately you're never going to create something that makes everybody happy or makes sense to everybody. I agree with you that if this was it had to be the premise that, you know, everybody was going to start fighting each other. It was done well enough, like the reason for them fighting didn't feel totally manufactured. But it still doesn't mean I'm happy with how it turned out, why it turned out the way it did, and the way that certain characters, including Captain America, were portrayed. Because I just can't get behind his like double standards.
Explain that, because I'm not sure. I don't understand what you mean there.
Well, the idea that like people should be held accountable, but not Bucky. Like his whole deal with like, you know, we're all part of the team and we all gotta like, you know, be held accountable, and we're not better than or different than anybody else. But then like he totally just like saves Bucky from, and I mean, not saying that like Iron Man had the right to like attempt to kill Bucky, even though like finding out he murdered your parents is, you know, I would imagine quite enraging. But just like the whole idea that, you know, Captain America couldn't understand where Iron Man was coming from, and just only thought like, I have to save Bucky. And I was just like, my God, like you've just spent how many years being this man's friend, and you can't give him like a minute to process the fact that your friend killed his parents? Like,
I do agree with that sometimes, you know, and maybe real life maybe this mirrors real life more than it should, but I do think sometimes it's like, really, you guys have this relationship, this rapport, whatever, you know each other, and you're gonna be at each other's throats this fast,
right?
You know, but that does happen in real life, and it's sad, and it's not, you know, it's unfortunate, but but yeah, I agree that everybody could like cool down
Yeah.
and have a little more respect for one another.
Yeah,
And, you know,
things escalated really quickly for Civil War, and I felt like only a few people really knew what the core of their disagreement was, and then they sort of like ended up that was the part that I didn't love either, is like fringe characters like Ant-Man just sort of like joined in because like, you know, they were like,
yeah.
"Oh, like this guy hit me. Well, I'm going to hit him back, and now I'm on this side, and now we're like over here." You know what I mean? Like those are the kind of things that I totally hate. And it just felt like really it was like a core argument that blew up to include other characters, and I didn't
Sure.
appreciate that either.
Yeah, I could feel more people potentially trying to stay out of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you guys need to settle this and settle this, you know, but I'd have to watch it again too to really make sure I'm not
I mean, it's
talking
been
out my butt here.
it's been a while. And there's certainly things like I know I come down hard on Captain America, and I tend to like see things in a couple of different movies from more of Iron Man's perspective, but to critique, you know, him as well, he had double standards in that movie, because his whole like let's sign the Sokovia Accords was, we can't be so destructive like we were, like we leveled the city and we didn't really stick around to, you know, understand the human toll or like help them rebuild. And then he allows like this whole thing to escalate where they are fighting, and it's like, you know, the second superheroes start fighting each other, you're just going to destroy more shit and you know, like hurt more people. So for somebody who was so concerned about that, he sure was like quick to be like, let me just fight Captain America in this airport, like everything will be fine, I'm sure we won't, you know, destroy some planes and hurt some people. So
see, I got very frustrated with Tony Stark's position a lot of time, but I understood where he was coming from, because I appreciate that he is a flawed character, that the way he is, like, you know, it could have been amped up more in movies or whatever, but I mean, the idea of he's doing a lot of this stuff out of guilt, you know, that he right, so all the destruction, and then like creating Ultron, and like, you know, being the catalyst for all this mayhem. Now he's like overcompensating for trying to, you know,
which is a very human thing to do. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't be seen being like that anymore, and like whatever I can to assuage my conscience, you know.
Right.
So yeah. But well, okay, that was a side tangent. It was not Marvel Avengers Day or anything like that. But we will get to more superhero stuff in a minute. I won't linger too much on what I did this week. Let's see what was important. I made pumpernickel for the first time.
My goodness.
My father-in-law. Yeah.
Bucking the trends. No more sourdough.
My thing was just bread in general, and I just happened to, I was gonna try sourdough. That was all. It wasn't like my mission is sourdough.
Right.
So
well, and sourdough is one of the easier ones to start off with. Like,
sure,
you know, I mean,
playing with yeast a little bit, then it's
right. Well, and if you were like excited about baking bread, you wouldn't want to be like, what's, you know, let me bake like a braided bread with like 5 different doughs. You know, like, no, let's start out with something we can achieve and then move forward.
Yep.
So, how did your pumpernickel turn out?
Pretty good. I thought it wasn't too bad. I'm gonna try, next time I do it, I will have a different recipe. I didn't make one with caraway seeds in it, which I think, you know, it's more common that they do, but and I also think it could use a little more fat. Like, it's very healthy, but just to get it, I don't know, a little more pliable, because it was very soft, but it would break apart pretty easily too. So I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably try and do for a different recipe. But yeah.
Well, cool.
Bread. I had some work. Been working. I played a gift that I was given. Forget if it was for Christmas now or from it must have been for Christmas from Ashley. That's the Zelda, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
Oh,
So it's
right.
not really
Yeah.
my game style, but I wanted to know the backstory more. I wanted to play that
Right.
out from Breath of the Wild, and
Mm-hmm.
so I gave that another shot, and I was really enjoying it. So um, probably try to keep going on that one a little bit
Okay.
while because I'm gonna play Resident Evil, and Ashley's gonna watch me play Resident Evil. She doesn't want to play it, but she wants to see it, like
Okay.
the horror of it, and stuff. But she
Oh,
doesn't want to
well,
play it.
if
So
if she's really into the horror, she should get Resident Evil 7 because that's like
yeah,
true horror. I mean, Resident Evil 8 is definitely like in that universe.
yep,
But it's a little if it follows as much about Resident Evil 4 as I think it's going to. It's a little bit more like about the environment and a little bit more of like puzzle games while you're fending off the enemy kind of thing. So it's a
yeah.
little less like horror based.
But we're excited about the change in tone.
Yeah.
The idea that there's vampires and werewolves,
Hmm.
that's different monsters other than just zombies. Or in
Yeah, for
Seven, it's
sure.
like hillbillies or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I just so it fits thematically, like the
Okay.
castles and so that stuff is cool. It's like
Gotcha.
watching Castlevania isn't scary either, but it's those horror things and
Yes.
done
Yes,
in a
the
really cool
elements
way.
rather than like actually being scary.
Yeah. Hmm.
Getcha. I getcha.
So new stereo came in today finally.
Ooh,
I could go
fun.
on a long explainer about the stereo, but I won't. Maybe another time. And then being working, I've been just squeezing a little Animal Crossing in most of the time instead. So that's been good. And I would have made, if I didn't have any work today, I was gonna try to make conchas
Oh,
because, as I said, today
fun.
is Cinco de Mayo. So happy
Yes.
Cinco de Mayo. We can go into our
Cheers.
drink holidays here. Salud. Yep. Um, what have you got to drink for Cinco de Mayo? Any of you had any other, like, have you done anything else to celebrate Cinco de Mayo?
So Chris is cooking up some tacos right now. So we will be having a late dinner of
Late dinner, yeah.
tacos. Yep. And then I've got margarita on the rocks with the rocks tequila,
Oh, yeah.
Terramana.
Nice.
Delicious. And it's in just like a small sports plug. It's in my Green Bay Packer glass
Oh my
because
gosh.
if you pay attention at all to the world of sports, Aaron Rodgers is considering retiring from the Green Bay Packers, and like I'm like having palpitations. I need a drink to deal with that fact. So,
Maybe Brett Favre will come back.
oh my god, that would just
Neat.
like totally make sense in this
Yeah.
entire craziness. Like, because first Rodgers was gonna be traded, um, and then like another team, he was gonna like retire. Then he was like maybe gonna go into free agency. Now like the manager's like, just kidding, we're not gonna trade him. We want him back, and he's like, yeah, the only way I'm coming back is if the manager's fired. Like, oh my
Mhm.
god, it's just been like an evolving drama, and I'm
Huh.
just on the edge of my seat trying to figure out what the hell is actually gonna happen.
Who are you gonna draft first if you don't have Rodgers?
I know. I don't know. I don't know.
Tough decisions. Yeah.
I don't know. And yeah, it's our whole team is built around Rodgers, so I don't really know what's going to happen to the Packers if he leaves. So
Well,
stressing out.
maybe you'll lose a quarterback
Uh,
and gain The Rock as the president.
ooh, would I make that trade? Yes.
I mean, I
Yes, I
haven't looked
would.
into it. I just heard he's milling
He's
about the idea. So
he's putting out some feelers.
yeah,
I don't think he's quite like Matthew McConaughey level serious about, running for office, but
McConaughey is.
McConaughey is very seriously putting in his bid to be governor of Texas.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, not president. So sorry for any confusion
Yeah,
there.
I know. Yep. All right. Well,
Yeah.
it's the world today. Yeah, I've got a.
Yeah, what do you got going
I
on?
also have a margarita.
Nice.
Ashley made it, strawberry one. I had
Nice.
muddled up some strawberries for it.
Delicious.
She tells me it's strong, so but yeah, it's really good. We do not have the Rocks tequila. We just have 1800. So
Still good. Still good.
yep. So yeah, and then we had so today is our dog Dobby's birthday.
Happy birthday, Dobby.
So we've placed it. I think we talked about this last time.
Yep.
We knew he was born in May, and we placed his birthday on the 5th. So
I like it. It makes sense.
Yeah. We had tacos as well. She ordered them from Aaron Sanchez's restaurant in New Orleans.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's called Johnny Sanchez.
Okay.
And we got the let's see, it's called albondigas. It's
is that the meatball soup?
It's a meatball taco.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, and it's got pickled onions and jalapenos, and then salsa verde and their own salsa, and it's really good. It's
okay.
Very, very good.
I imagine it would be, because every time I feel like I watch him on Chopped and somebody tries to make a taco, it's like, oh shit, like, what are you doing? This man is serious about his tacos. Like, you better just nail it. So
I appreciate that gusto though.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love the dedication. It's just, it always makes me nervous when he's a judge and somebody's like, yeah, I'm gonna make a taco, and I'm like, oh god, here we go.
Yep. So yeah, it's been a good day. We got some other drink holidays. Whoa, I just messed it up in the rundown. There we go. Some other drink holidays coming up, it looks like.
Yeah, May 7th is a huge day.
Yeah, Resident Evil releases, and then a whole bunch of drink stuff.
That's right. So celebrate May 7th. Not only will you get to play an excellent game, it is Sauvignon Blanc Day, it is Homebrew Day, and it is Cosmopolitan Day. So, I mean, you've pretty much got all your bases covered: wine, liquor, beer, whatever. Pick your poison, but drink something, because it's a big day.
Yeah. All right. I think the Sauvignon Blanc. Well, we need a red. Or is this a for? I was thinking like you need something real blood looking for vampires.
Oh yeah, you could do a Cabernet.
Yeah.
Sauvignon.
But, yeah.
It's still got the name in there. Close enough. Or depending on how much you add to your Cosmo, you could definitely make that a little bit blood red.
Yep. Well, speaking of blood, Castlevania Season 4, the final season is coming to Netflix on May 13th. So fast approaching.
That's right.
The trailer looks nuts.
Chaotic.
Like, I have the chills just thinking about watching this show.
Yeah, I'm super excited. The trailer was hectic and frenzied and just like breakneck, like throw you into a lot of different plot lines, but I'm so excited about them.
Yes.
So
I they've been handling the property well thus far, and I feel like I was gonna say I feel like every season has gotten better, but I do think that when we talked about it, season 2 was a step down from season 1, and then season 3 ramped it up.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it was hard because there was more content in season 2, and I wanted to be like more excited about all the things that we were getting, but I just don't think they pulled it together.
They got a lot of their world building out of the way, though. And
they did.
Other character development stuff, so we could really start swinging, in
season 3,
and presumably season 4 now too. So.
Yeah, I mean, season 4 just looks like full barrel ahead. We're not stopping for anything. We're not stopping to explain this world to you if you've missed things. Like, we're just going to be right in the thick of it. So.
Yep.
I'm interested to see kind of how our multi-villain storylines are going to play out. You know what I mean? Like there's clearly like
Yes.
3 different plot lines that we're going to have to deal with, that our heroes are going to have to deal with in, bringing possibly, oh boy, like I guess spoilers I should say before I open my mouth. But possibly bringing back Dracula, and then of course Hector and the sisters and their possible conquest, and then oh my gosh, I cannot think of his name, the other human who is leading his own night demon army. Oh my god. Is it Isaac?
Isaac.
Yeah, okay. All right. I thought that, and then I was like, I'm wrong, and then I was gonna like, no, I'm just gonna go for it. So he's obviously got his own like conquest plans, so we'll see how they all mesh together.
I have to say, I'm very happy that these exist, because we also had the I don't recall what it was, something with it was a Greek mythology show as well. Something of Blood of Zeus.
Blood of Zeus, yeah.
Yeah, and so that one's a little different, but in the terms of American animation, that's a little more serious. I usually disregard most of it. The DC has done a good job on some things. And then especially if something that's a Japanese property like Castlevania, I'm usually like, I'd rather it would be an anime. But they've won me over with these, and I dig what they do for sure.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
May 13th, just like a week and a day.
Yep. We've already talked about the Resident Evil demo. So go and jump on that.
Go download.
If you want. Review embargo looks like it's now up for the game as well, so you can check out some reviews to see if you are interested. We will be covering that game as well here, possibly with some guests later. So if you're interested in Resident Evil, stay tuned.
Spoiler alert, you are interested.
And Returnal came out the other week, along with new Pokemon Snap. Yep. I listened to a lot of people talk about Returnal over the course of the week, because I really wasn't sure. I feel like I talked about this some maybe on the last podcast, but I feel like Game Pass and Apple Arcade and the services that I automatically have, plus the game back catalog I have, plus Nintendo Online, plus the games that Epic Store gives away for free, really has me thinking harder about each purchase. And because this game is $70 plus tax.
Right.
You can't buy it and then you don't like it after a couple hours, like you play it for an hour or two, and you're like, I don't like this. Now you've thrown away $70.
$35 an hour.
Yeah. And I buy everything digital. Our PlayStation 5 is digital only. I buy most things digital anyways. So it's not like you're going to recoup anything by reselling it. So you really have to know, and so there are things like the next Horizon game. While of course I'm going to get that. I don't need anything else around it. It's warranted me trying the next one for $70 or whatever it cost. So, but this one, I'm so into the themes and the music and the vibe and everything about it, the looks. I just don't know if I'm going to love the gameplay enough for $70. And it seems so divided. Like in general, the reviews are quite good. But you listen to some of them, it's like, God, there's some pain points. Like they talk about runs for this game being 2 hours long and you can't save at all. So if anything happens or you want to do something else on your PlayStation, your game is gone. You have to do, and look, old games used to do this where you want to beat Mario, the original Mario, you didn't get to save. You just had to beat it. But what you do is you pause it, and then that's the only thing that box did. So then you pause it and then come back later, whatever. Well, PlayStation's a little different now, and they also talk too. Like if an update gets pushed for your system or something, or for the game, it closes the game and does the update, and now your thing is gone. So, the
Wow.
company is aware that people are talking about save stuff, and
Okay.
I'm guessing they're going to do something, some sort of patch kind of thing to like give yourself checkpoints. You can't start from a checkpoint, once you die and you start over.
Right.
But, until you die, you kind of get a place to return to. So.
Okay. Yeah, man. That especially that whole like update and you lose like that would bother me a great deal. Like just that update just kind of barging in there being like, "Oh, it's time. Here I am." Like,
well, because they released a patch.
Sorry to F with your gameplay, but too bad.
They released a patch just earlier today or yesterday or whatever, and that was the warning along with it. Turn off your auto updates.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that would make me quite upset.
Yep.
Especially because it's like not a choice. You know what I mean? Like.
Yep. But early numbers say it's selling pretty well.
Okay.
Everything Nintendo is selling well, so no surprise. New Pokemon Snap is selling well.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Nintendo, I just saw before the show went live that they released a trailer for Game Builder Garage, and it comes out June 11th, so it's coming soon. And this is a really good idea, I think. It's stepping you through tutorials and stuff on how to build a game, and it reminds me of Apple's version of this for coding. It kind of gamifies that they use in schools and stuff, and so this is kind of a Nintendo version of that, but directly towards game development.
Yeah. So. I mean, it's a cool opportunity, both, obviously for everyone who is curious about how to build a game, but it's also a cool opportunity, for Nintendo. I mean, you never know who you're inspiring out there and who like you're teaching to be like the next, generation of creatives and the great ideas that they might have that they'll bring to you potentially. So it's kind of it's a win-win. It costs you nothing really.
And we'll see like if they monetize this in any other way, or like, because I'm guessing you get to, I haven't looked into enough yet, but if you get to play the games other people make and stuff or something. And so that's kind of like, it reminds me of what Media Molecule did with Dreams on the PlayStation in a way that is just like this sandbox for creating, except this is more like hand-holdy to begin, tutorial based to start. And
so you can share them, Alan says. He found that out.
Okay.
That's cool. That's a great opportunity for Nintendo. I mean, not only does it generate, I think, some goodwill, you know what I mean? Like, people will be excited about that. It's a cool opportunity to have people create games and others be able to play them. But it kind of shows them, what's trending. Like, what games, are people interested in that other people create? Like, what do people flock to? By hosting it, you kind of get like a little inside scoop on, what draws people's attention. Yeah. And you can kind of, take it if you want to and maybe incorporate that in some of the games you're currently developing or thinking about developing. I mean, or again, like I said, it costs you nothing to just host it and just have people be like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. They've had some practice now with a couple Mario Maker games. And I kind of feel bad for Media Molecule with Dreams because there's a lot to that and it didn't do as well as they had hoped. Yeah. And I'm guessing this is going to blow up. If I have to guess, this is just it's going to be a big deal. So, but yeah. Speaking of games as well, before we move on from game stuff, if we ever want to stream a game or something like that, there's a very popular game right now called It Takes Two, I believe. Okay. And you have to play it in co-op. and you can play it online or whatever.
Okay.
But you can even, one person can buy it, and then the other person can download like the friend copy, and so
Okay.
it's the game, but so you don't have to buy two copies.
Okay.
Because you have to play it with two people. And so apparently it's a very good story, and it's very unique, and it's good gameplay, and that's what these people do. They've made like a couple games now where the last one was about escaping prison, and you needed to have, in order to get out, you had to play with someone else. Yeah, a way out. It's the same guy, same dev, and so yeah, you had to play it with someone to help you get out of prison. And before that, I think was Brothers as what he made. I believe it's the same person.
Okay.
And that you play as two people. You don't play with two people.
I see.
So I think each joystick controls a character.
I see. Okay.
So
Interesting.
he's basically only made good games, to my knowledge. He's a character, and this new game is about like divorce and dealing with like some serious issues, but in a very like colorful, crazy way. So
interesting. Yeah. That's not a topic I would have predicted for a game.
Yeah, I mean, the space covers the spectrum. If you look for it, and it's nice to see more options out there. So
very cool.
Yeah. Going to gaming to television and movies. There's again a lot of movies and television coming out I would like to see that I've not got to see yet. I really do still want to watch Clannad like you have been. Hopefully we'll get to that soon here. But I just saw before we went live as well this new Ewan McGregor show. Short limited run series or whatever on Netflix called Halston. And to me, this looks like a show we'll like. Did you get to watch the trailer at all?
I did. Yeah. I snuck that in right before the show. I am torn.
Really?
So only because of one thing. So I'm excited on the one hand, like the cast looks fantastic. The story looks fun. Like, we both love fashion. Like that's, kind of like the part of the Oscars that we both, right? I know. Definitely. I'm rocking some fashionable plaid, right now. But I mean, we do like, that's like the fun part of the Oscars and things for us is like the red carpet and, all the judgments that we get to make. So that part like absolutely intrigues me. The only part that I'm going to say I'm a little maybe tired of, but we'll see how they present it, is like the celebrity spiral. And I think it's just because I rewatched Bohemian Rhapsody, and then I watched Rocket Man in close succession, and then now watched the trailer for this where it's like, oh, he's so famous, but he can't control it. And it's like, downward spiral into drugs and booze. And, and I was just a little bit like, oh, dang. Where have I heard that before?
That's your fault.
Yeah.
Why'd you watch those movies?
What?
Why'd you watch those movies?
Rocket Man and Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
Because they're excellent.
I haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody yet. But
oh, you should. It's very good. I mean, it was like I said, I watched both of them like kind of like back to back almost, so it was a little like, wow, these are similar. Yeah. And I get it. I mean, it's these people's lives. Like, this is actually what happened. It's not like you can be like, oh, well, we're just gonna skip that part. Nope. Sure. It's it's what happens, and unfortunately, it's what happens a lot to very successful people who kind of skyrocket. But yeah, I was a little like, I'm hoping there's like something different. There's some way that they treat, the inevitable breakdown and the inevitable, substance abuse spiral that's, maybe creatively different, or maybe it's not as big of a deal as I think it is. And they're just showing it in the trailer.
Sure.
To be flashy, and then it's not as much, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's just something that has there's a style to this, the way they put it together, that to me feels different. It's kind of like Baby Driver, or who's the director that did a Neon Demon? I gotta look that up. Neon Demon. Did you ever watch that movie?
I did not know.
Oh, it's so good, like understated good. It's like it's weird. Okay, Nicholas Winding Refn.
That's a name.
Yeah.
Sounds
And
like British aristocracy over there.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. So that's what I was thinking of. Drive, Only God Forgives, Neon Demon.
Oh, he's Danish. Interesting.
Valhalla Rising. I should watch that. I think that's got Mads Mikkelsen in it. Yeah,
I'm sold on that title alone.
Yeah. Forced for some time to be a fighting slave, a pagan warrior escapes his captors with a boy and joins a group of crusaders on their quest to the Holy Land. So, yeah, everything I've seen of this guy, like he just makes movies right. And maybe it's like my inner Northern European or something, but I connect with the stuff, I guess. So this trailer just kind of gave me some of those. It's not as stylized, but it's just some of those vibes. I just feel like it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm not saying I won't watch it, because again, like there are definitely parts that appeal to me. I was just kind of hoping maybe that part, the substance abuse part, would be a little different, just so it's not so trite, like so predictable.
Yep, I hear you. I get tired of watching celebrity stuff a lot, where they're just like, it's all about the tragedy of it. Because on one hand, it's a little bit like, well, boo-hoo, you know?
Right.
And on the other hand, it's like, wow, that's depressing.
Yeah.
Jesus. So.
Yeah, it seems to be, inescapable for some people, and inescapable in very similar ways, across like multiple celebrities. You just feel like it's the same general story. And it's like, man, how many times, like, why don't people learn? But
power and fame.
Yep,
power and fame. You can't deal with it. I mean, that's why, like, so many people want to say, money buys happiness. Bill Gates would be the happiest person alive, basically, if he did, and he's getting divorced.
I was gonna say.
So it just doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
But
yeah, intriguing show. Like I said, I love the cast who's a part of this. I always love Ewan McGregor. I love the way he commits to roles.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see this, but we'll see where it goes.
I think this is going to be like, they're going to talk Oscar stuff on this, or at least that's the goal here for Ewan McGregor.
If it's a series, though, it's
okay, Golden Globe.
Yeah, I was gonna say Globe,
yeah,
Emmy.
That's right.
Something like that. Yeah.
Shucks, what are they doing? No. Okay. Yeah. It reminded me too. There's a lot of show. We were talking tonight. There is I haven't finished Raised by Wolves. I really need to finish Raised by Wolves.
Same.
There's an Apple TV Plus show that is in like Israeli that I haven't finished. So got to get on it. What am I doing? What am I doing? Working and whatever.
Yeah, can't you watch TV while you're in the tractor?
No. I mean, some people I suppose can. They got auto steer and they can try to do that, but yeah. Okay. We're moving back into comic book movie superhero territory, because I mean, Lord knows we don't talk about that stuff enough. And But this week we kind of got some like teaser stuff, some new trailers, kind of getting people excited, some new reveals for the next Captain Marvel movie and the next Black Panther movie, and some dates attached to things. And they released this really, I think, really well done teaser for Marvel Phase 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It was a good like voiceover, you know, with great clips to pair with this voiceover, introducing the next phase of the MCU. I think my only critique of the trailer would be the ending was a little random. You know, like they had the last 3 shots focused on Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, it seemed a little out of place.
And I was just like, this is a little random for your closer. I sort of thought it would be like, you know, like a overarching MCU like
team shot or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or just, you know, like the Marvel logo kind of thing even. And it was just like, oh, okay. Like, not that I'm not excited or that, you know, I want to put down this movie at all. It was just a little bit random. But yeah, it was exciting. And I think one of the best parts about this trailer was, I think, the relative obscurity of many, not all, obviously, but many of the key superheroes that are coming in this next phase. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, Black Widow kicking it off. We're well established there. You know, we've got another Ant-Man and another Guardians of the Galaxy, another Black Panther. But, you know, then like Shang-Chi, the Eternals, you know, that kind of stuff is like, who, what, where, when? And it's fun to see things like that get made because Marvel can. You know, they can do that now. They've successfully experimented with lesser known superheroes, made, you know, just an absolute killing out of it, and now they can do it again. They can afford to take more risks, and I'm really excited by it.
And whereas it seems like
I don't. Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, whereas the DCU, I don't think can take those chances because they're still so scattered. They're still trying to establish, you know, their core superheroes, and they can't branch off into other things.
I think they can absolutely both take those chances. Like, I know Marvel has earned it more, you know, but DC, and I think we're going to see it with the Suicide Squad. I think we're going to see it with James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but they're taking that chance.
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. So they're taking a chance with the individual members of the Suicide Squad, but they already have name recognition of Suicide Squad. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's weak.
It's weak, but they've done it before. Do you know what I mean? They're not like totally branching out and being like, set all that aside, you know, let's focus on some other superheroes. It's like, no, we're still returning to Batman. We're still returning to Suicide Squad. You know, they're already talking about a Superman reboot with somebody other than Henry Cavill, which just like blows my mind. So, you know, they're sort of stuck in like reinventing the wheel on their same superheroes, whereas Marvel is like, nope, we don't need to do that. We've got our core, and we've got enough of them that they can carry us into this next phase, and we can do the experiment again and see what sticks. And, you know, hopefully we can keep going and going and going.
It blows me away, DC. It just blows me away. I mean, I don't have, you know, I'm 50-50 whether Marvel's going to mess it up or not. But if they do, they've had a great run, you know?
Right, like,
amazing. DC, yeah, they just can't. I don't understand.
They're beyond words.
Yeah, they are.
I feel like we're both words. Just like, I can't. Like, there's nothing to say.
Yeah. I mean, why they think that they just need to keep making Superman and Batman movies over and over until they like hit the perfect thing. Like, that's what audiences are going to want.
Right.
Oh, and then once that's the perfect thing, then we're gonna grow and continue on or something like that.
Right.
No, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Well,
anyways, well, we might as well talk about
I was
our
gonna say,
DCU movie.
as long as we're on the DCU.
Yeah. So spoiler time for Justice League, but the Zack Snyder cut, the 4-hour long, not widescreen, completely re-edited and recolor graded and rescored, Justice League movie.
Indeed.
So I watched this basically when it came out. So it's been a minute.
Sure.
When did you watch
it? You got to watch it with fresh eyes because you did not see Whedon's 2017 release.
So here's the different perspective we'll each bring, because
I did.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it in theaters. I'm pretty sure the only DCU movies I've seen in theaters are the first Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Everything else I've seen post.
The best ones.
Yes, I would agree with that. So I watched this Justice League, the Snyder cut, yesterday and today. So it's very fresh for me.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, give it to us. What do you think?
So having come from Whedon's film to this one, I was very pleased overall with the Snyder cut. I think it was a lot better of a movie than Whedon's, because it didn't feel patched together. It didn't feel, because you could definitely tell, I think, in Whedon's version, there's just like not quite a continuity. There's a little, it's a little bit of a character mishmash. Like sometimes it was like lighthearted and sometimes it was like intensely dark. And I think that was coming from Whedon having to use some of Snyder's like darker vision and then sort of like try to gloss that over with the very like, I'm coming from the MCU where, you know, we do the whole like funny and serious thing, but it just didn't fit in Snyder's tone. So overall, I was pleased with Snyder in the terms of like, this is a whole film, one director. There's no like jarring switch in characters or in plot lines, and I think there were just better villains because we got more. Like we got an upgrade on Steppenwolf. We got to see that Steppenwolf wasn't even, the main villain. He was working for Darkseid, and there was a larger plot afoot than just Steppenwolf and the mother boxes. So that was a lot of context and a lot of stake raising, I think, for this film. So those were some of the good things. We got, more time with other members of the Justice League because, of course, like everybody was already, well, not everybody, but if you were following the DCU, you were already familiar with Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman to some extent. But we got more for Cyborg. We got more for Flash. So that was, I think, all the good things. The tough things about this film were, knowing that it's not going to go anywhere. There's a lot of setup in this movie for things that could have happened, and based on what we're hearing from DCU execs and from the movies that are actually in production, they're not happening. So we're not getting like the follow-up. We're not getting another Justice League where, we're going to follow up with Darkseid, because he's still there at the end of the movie and he's still got a plot afoot, much in a very, not exactly Thanos, but like Thanos-esque kind of, overarching villain, like wiping out humanity kind of plot. We're not getting, we're not following up with the Martian Manhunter. We're not following up with Lex Luthor Deathstroke. following up with, this, no Hal Jordan. Thank you, Ellen. And we're not following up with this very odd, teaming up that we get at the end of this group on Apocalypse, with Mira and Batman and the Flash and Joker and Deathstroke. So it's a lot of like setup for things that could have happened but aren't going to happen, and it's tough. It's tough to watch.
Yeah, but if you didn't know that, if I didn't know that,
if I didn't know that, the epilogue would still be a little tough because it's a little like mishmashy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I didn't know that, probably a little bit better, a little bit easier to watch, because you would get excited about all these things. But yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Snyder Cut still can't save the DCU from its biggest problem, which is continuity, because the Snyder Cut still has Aquaman meeting Mira before Aquaman, and then in Aquaman pretending like they've never met.
But,
and then Mira has no parents in this and says like, "Oh, Queen Atlanta raised me," and then in Aquaman she's got a dad.
Okay, I'm with you on that one, but
DCU,
I swear in Aquaman
together.
that they'd already met. He didn't want anything to do with her. He knew of her. Oh, you're one of them. You're, from Atlantis. I don't want to, go away. I don't want anything to do with you.
So I know he knew she was an Atlantean, but I'm pretty sure that they like introduced themselves to each other. Or am I totally off?
I need to watch it again, because I think Ashley and I talked about this too. There was some debate there. So we've been meaning to watch Aquaman again anyways.
Yeah, I should watch that again, because I felt like their first meeting was like total first meeting.
Sure.
So, well, but okay, so I'm at least 1 for 2, possibly 2 for 2 in DCU getting it out of its own way with its continuity issues, because for God's sake.
I have to say, so yeah, having not seen the original cut, because I'd basically written off, and I like Zack Snyder as a director. Like, I am a big fan of 300. I'm a big fan of Watchmen. I think that though he may sometimes, like particularly for Justice League, choose his influences from the less good parts of the DC comics, nonetheless, he is influenced by the DC comics and does try to make films that look like the comics. They really feel epic and grandiose, and they really feel larger than life. And but once they announced that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, I was really sour to that. I've never had a problem with another Batman, but when they announced him, I'm like, really? And he is a good actor. He has such a butt chin. Like, why are you going to put him in that mask? To just show off butt chin.
It's the exact wrong shape for his face. Do you know, like, he could be somebody else, maybe Cyborg, because then he could cover up that butt chin. But
and see, I'm not a fan of that Batman so much either. He's like clearly being inspired by the Frank Miller Batman, which is fine.
Oh, okay.
Those are big. Those are big comics. They're important. People love them, but it's definitely not the Batman that I am most interested in. And so that's not like, I don't know. It just wasn't my favorite thing. And we didn't see their first Superman because we don't really care about Superman. So by the time they got to Justice League, it just had too much going against it. And then, the production nightmare that it was. And then, So my DC movie experience has been the Wonder Woman movies and Aquaman and Shazam, that kind of thing.
I forget about Shazam, but I actually really like that movie.
Yeah, and they're doing a follow-up there
Yep.
that I think James Bond is going to be in, so that's cool.
Yeah, I kind of forget about Shazam, but it kind of has the best of the DCU going for it in that it's not connected to anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it stands alone, and that's kind of like the best thing that's going for it. It doesn't have to try and be in there anywhere. So I feel like it
Yeah.
automatically gets points for just like staying out of all of this mess.
See, but there was talk that they were going to put Henry Cavill in there
Oh God, don't do it.
as
Don't do it.
in Shazam,
Please,
but
please don't do it.
but then if they're going ahead with a different Superman movie, again, it just seems like they're content with just
Right?
make whatever they feel like whenever, and
Just
it's just going to be a mess.
well, and it's
Um,
it's such an odd like throw shit against the wall and see what sticks, but to
mhm.
do so in a very public forum. Like this is why don't you have like test audiences and like
Yeah.
internal review on this kind of stuff? I just feel like they're doing all of their process work in front of audiences and it's just wrong.
Mm. Well, I guess with that said, I really liked this movie.
Mm,
I was shocked with how much I liked this movie. One, it made me
excellent.
really upset with the last Wonder Woman. It emphasized how much I missed Wonder Woman being badass because
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is so cool
Mhm.
and she's so pretty lame in the last Wonder Woman movie. So I love to see her shine in this one. It was really
Absolutely.
awesome. I'm a big fan of Aquaman. I've defended Aquaman for years. When I worked at Best Buy, I got made fun of by some people, and it was a joke back and forth between us because I defended Aquaman. This was before the movies or whatever.
You got
So
the
I'm
last
happy.
laugh now. Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, that's a
yeah.
that's a win. That's a score for Aquaman's, character.
And it's a testament to the way that what Zack Snyder set up here in doing that casting, because that's not a casting choice I would have made.
Mm,
But he's won me over for it. Like
yeah.
does not look exactly like the character has in any iteration. But like he embodied the character in ways enough that I enjoyed and made sense to me, and so
Mhm.
I bought in.
Yeah.
And Steppenwolf, I thought was a really cool bad guy and believable. And I love the opening, the whole thing. Again, we get to see the Amazonians be
Yes.
awesome, whereas they were kind of lame in the last Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
Um,
So,
so,
okay, so I have to interject speaking of Steppenwolf. Did
mhm.
you see Whedon's version of
So
Steppenwolf?
after I saw this, I watched a lot of stuff on the comparisons between the two.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
very familiar now with the
Okay.
differences. And that would make me appreciate this movie even more because I'm stunned at what and I understand that they brought in Whedon and told them to make it more Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I get that. But man, did he mess it up. I
Yeah.
mean, some of the dialogue lines, holding Batman, do you bleed? Throws him aside, and Batman makes a joke. I'm like bleeding from somewhere, or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, is Flash falling on it right on Wonder Woman's boobs in the middle of a battle, face playing, and like not a comedy. Like, they're trying to add all these weird comedy moments,
Right.
and now I watch this, and right from the get-go, the way it starts out is that kind of Hallmark Zack Snyder weight to
Slow-mo.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the slow-mo and and I just um the
Mhm.
color grading difference,
Yep.
the way it looked from and if anyone's watching the screen shots we grab, some of them I'm not guaranteeing they're all from the Snyder Cut. Some are from posters and whatever all this stuff. So don't at me about that. But yeah, I just was very impressed. Ashley and I watched it, the whole thing straight through, one sitting, a binge watch, and I really liked every moment of it. And they didn't give Cyborg the shaft, like he was a critical part of the film.
Right. Both Cyborg and Flash had more critical roles, which I greatly appreciated.
And Ezra Miller as Flash is very interesting, and I kind of like it, but he's not very Flash.
In what sense?
In terms of like how the comic book character would be.
Oh, okay.
The Flash was the first leader of the Justice League. Do you see? I mean, obviously, like he is now the most newbie kid for, it's like not the same kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
And Cyborg shouldn't be there either. He's a Titan. He's not a member of the Justice League. So, but like, again, I could gripe at this movie, but it's like, oh my God, DC, you made a really entertaining movie here with really cool bad guys. Oh, going back to this scene where Darkseid first comes to Earth, and then Zeus and Ares and the Lantern Corps and stuff fight him off. Yep. Amazing. That's great. That's so great. Lots of just really cool moments. And I saw some of the breakdowns, like just the whole thing, the way it was toned, like that picture they just showed of Aquaman here was he saves the guy, he goes in, and just the way that they frame it in the theatrical cut, he's like walking out, it's like bright and colorful, and they got like rock music going, versus the Snyder cut, it's like a somber thing. It's like closer to grayscale, and it's a slow music thing. It's just a whole different feel. Instead of like trying to feel bombastic and colorful and Marvel, it feels like weighty, and like we're, I prescribe to the idea that superheroes are our modern mythology, and Snyder seems to agree with that kind of thing and try to emphasize it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like you say, I appreciate that Whedon was given a direction and he tried to follow it, in the sense of like DCU execs shouldn't, I think, have told him to come in and make it more Marvel, because you're not going to out Marvel. So just don't go there. But they told him to do it, and that's what he did, and fine. Okay. But yeah, looking at the Snyder cut of this film, like I said, there's such better continuity. Everything feels better framed because you're not splicing, these like different toned images against like colorful, like you said, bombastic, kind of happy, or momentous, or, that kind of like, oh, we're in a superhero movie moment. Everything feels a little more real, a little grittier. I do have to say that one hallmark Snydery trait of this movie ended up bothering me a little bit. So I know this movie was rescored because they had the original score. Whedon threw it out, did a very, like, again, Marvel-y, like almost poppy, kind of like happy score. And then Snyder came back and was like, nope, got to get rid of all of that. I appreciated that his score, again, fit with his movie, but I thought the music was a little bit much at moments.
Okay.
There was a little bit too much music happening, and it got a little too part of the scene in certain moments, where it was almost distracting. So, like, especially because some of the music, like the superhero theme music, doesn't transition well from one superhero to another, especially Diana's, like, Amazonian, very vocal, it just doesn't.
It's so awesome.
It's so awesome. And it's so great when it's like her moment, but it doesn't transition well with everybody else's. So there were some moments where it was like in the final battle and it was very chaotic and we were just like switching from character to character. And then all of a sudden Diana would appear on the screen and there was like that very like and I was like, whoa, whoa. Like I was almost taken out of it for a little bit. So I thought maybe like some of the score could have been toned down a bit. But again, I like that his vision fit with his vision. Like the
Sure.
musical score fit with his vision. So
Yeah.
but
I
the music
understand what you're
almost felt
saying.
like the music almost felt like a character in and of itself sometimes. And I
Yep.
think that was just a bit much. I think he could have just like toned it down a little bit.
Yep. I understand what you're saying. For sure. And disagree.
And I disagree.
It's definitely part of his type of film, the way he puts it together.
It was very like it felt a little 300, like especially when it was like Diana's turn for theme music. It felt a little like, oh man, I'm like listening to some, pieces that didn't make 300. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just that sense of it, whereas like with the other characters, I just didn't feel that way with their theme music. So
Yep. Yeah. Let's see what else. We get to throw in that we actually see Martian Manhunter.
Yes. Yes. That was quite surprising. I thought he was just going to appear in that little like epilogue, but no, he's like a little pivotal moment there in the middle of the film.
He looked cool. I liked the effects for everything. I thought they did I am not a fan. Like they can play with this. I understand, but they can play with this. And I'm not a fan of Superman being so powerful. I'm still, but there are people that just get off on the idea that Superman is a god. That he's just oh my God, Superman, bruh, Superman. He is just so cool. He is so powerful. He can beat it. And so it's sort of kind of this thing where he's got to step in and like just be better than everyone and anything ever.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I don't like Superman very much.
There's a lot of emphasis in this movie on we need Superman,
Yeah.
Like, Batman's like there's no us without him. There's no 5. There's only 6. Like,
Batman wouldn't even say that anyways.
It was a bit much. And I mean, there's something to be said about like obviously you have more powerful superheroes. Like Superman is always going to be more powerful than Batman in the sense of like he has powers. And like we see this, we talked about this, looking at the MCU as well. Like Iron Man doesn't have powers. He has his brain and the suit and, but yeah, it's a lot to like just be like everybody's just getting their asses handed to them and only Superman can save the day.
See, we just talked before about how Civil War, it's difficult to make those people fight for some reason. And I liked the way they did this. I thought it made sense having Superman fight the others.
Yeah.
And it also was like, well, they're kind of a new team.
Yeah, Wonder of course Woman they wouldn't work together.
Yeah. Wonder Woman hasn't come into all of her powers yet. Exactly. She's not flying and stuff. So it was fun. Like when they're headbutting each other, Wonder Woman headbutts them, and then Superman just like headbutts her into the ground. Like there's just these confrontations there were fun. And I'm so happy I don't feel tainted by having seen the first one first.
Yeah, it is a blessing for sure.
Because I mean, then I can just be shocked at how much changed versus like going in thinking of the movie I already saw.
Yeah, it's unfortunate having watched Whedon's version because essentially the plot is the same. You know, like Snyder's version of the film has all of the same elements because it was his film first.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing like he came in and changed plot wise other than adding Darkseid, which obviously, you know, is both pivotal and not. It's pivotal because we now learn Steppenwolf is working for someone else, but it's also not pivotal because it's not like Darkseid appears all that often. You know what I mean? So it's not like he changed like a key moment. So it's hard because I feel like I watched the same film essentially. I just watched one that was slightly better.
But we understood the motivation of Steppenwolf now.
No,
like,
right. I'm not saying like there aren't like key changes. It's just not overall. It's not like, oh my God, there was 90 minutes of new footage and you know the critical battle was now against Darkseid instead of Steppenwolf. Do you know what I'm
a
trying?
lot of right.
Like,
a lot of the new
just, yeah.
A lot of the new footage is like it seems like it's like with Cyborg giving him his backstory, you know.
It's contextual and and it adds so much and it makes the movie so much better, but it doesn't change fundamentally.
Yeah. Right.
So it's really hard to like have watched the same movie twice and been like, why couldn't I just have had the better version of this movie? Like, why did I need to watch the worst version?
Mm-hmm. And when has Hollywood ever been like, oh yeah, let's not split this into two movies and make more money? Right. Like, well, I mean,
well, that's what surprised me here is so I was initially thrown by the use of those like title cards, like part 1, you know, part 2, whatever. And then I learned that since they were going to be doing all of this and remaking everything and giving Snyder, you know, the green light to make as lengthy of a movie as he wanted, they were going to do it as a miniseries, which, okay, that made sense to me. But then suddenly, like, again, the execs balked at releasing a miniseries and we're like, forget it. It's a 4-hour movie. So, but why? Like, why wouldn't you want to split this all up and release it and make a big, like, deal out of it and make it in a miniseries? And I don't know.
Obviously, I don't know them. And obviously, I don't know with everything they have to deal with. And obviously, there's a lot I don't know. But man, it seems like idiots are running that place.
Yeah.
It's like it's gotten too big and too out of hand. You know, they're not. It's like, you know, Apple's like $2 trillion company, but their core, their leadership team and stuff has been the core for a long time. And they've grown and naturally grown. And a lot of stuff is like, it just feels like it's still under the same umbrella. And everything is related. Everything is designed to tie in to the neighboring product. So when you look at like a conglomerate, like Time Warner, AT&T, this thing, they own so many things that deal with so many things, so many different offices. They bought this company, then they bought that company, and they all like trying to like steer that ship seems like everything is getting lost here. You know, the idea that like people are talking about this movie not having done well enough and HBO Max not doing well enough. And I don't know, I've listened to multiple opinions. Some people think that they're just wanting to bury this so they can be done with it because they're moving on. No matter what this did, they're moving on. So we're going to just go with it didn't do very well. So we don't make our investors upset. Sure. And it just seems like, I don't know. It seems like they can't manage this anymore. They can't control it. HBO has not yet launched in multiple, you know, in other countries. It's not a worldwide release, so they're losing out on the numbers are looking poorer in terms, you know, in regards to that. Right. You know, they launched the service without having 4K. And I think they have great shows on there and stuff, but that's again only one small segment of this now massive company. that is trying to make multi-million-dollar movies off of stuff they have no idea about and clearly don't care about because they're basically shutting down the comic part of the company.
Right.
So it's just a disaster. And that's why I was like, this movie made me so happy, yet so sad.
Exactly.
Because, yeah, I'm not going to get to see it continue. It made me more upset at the last Wonder Woman movie and just like wish that we just were able to continue with this. Like, this is good enough. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Let's just move forward with this. Not every movie in your run has to be the most amazing thing, because guess what, DC? You're too stupid to do that. So don't try it. Like, try to make the best movie every time. But if you're thinking every movie has to be a banger and like the biggest success, it's not going to happen for you. It's not going to work out.
Well, and don't keep remaking it until it happens. Like,
I know.
Because then when you do finally make the best movie, nobody's going to see it because they're so sick of seeing the same movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, move on. Like, let it alone. Like, just stop like nitpicking at the same thing over and over and over again. Go somewhere else, and maybe you're going to get some fresh inspiration, and then maybe circle the wagons around and be like, okay, we have a really great idea and we're going to try this. But if you just keep making the same movie over and over and over again, nobody's going to care once you finally get a good one.
Yep. Alan puts in the comments Thor Dark World to Thor Ragnarok. And that's right. What if Marvel is like, oh, well, boy, we've kind of messed up Thor Dark World. Let's just scrap that. Let's recast Thor. We're just going to do something different. No.
And Ragnarok is like one of my favorites.
Yeah. What if, so they make this new Superman with a black Superman. They bring out that movie and say it's the greatest movie ever. Everybody goes and sees it. Makes tons of money. Well, then they make the Green Lantern movie that connects with it. Maybe that one's garbage. Are you just going to scrap it all again?
Right.
Every movie has to be perfect in line.
Right.
Like, you don't have what, you can try to emulate Marvel, but you can't just, when you fail, just do over.
Yeah.
Just do over. Or reset this weird,
button,
like scattershot thing of just like, we'll have a Joker movie here. We'll have this Batman movie here that doesn't connect to anything. We'll have this Suicide Squad thing. Well, we kind of made it connect now to this universe, and like,
right.
I mean, then we're gonna have the new Suicide Squad.
You kind of did, but you kind of didn't, because boy, was Jared Leto's Joker a lot different in that little ending sequence there, and in a way I don't think can be entirely explained by the fact that he's clearly just been broken out of prison.
Well, but it's later. It's the future. So
still like, where did that Joker go? Because that was like a freaky Joker. It wasn't like a sad imitation.
Everybody says they want the Ayer cut of Snyder of Suicide Squad,
right?
Because apparently they cut so much Joker footage, and Leto's mad about all that stuff. Normally I would say whatever, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but I'm a believer now after seeing the Snyder cut. So I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it could forgive a multitude of sins on Jared Leto's part, in his Joker portrayal that he just got absolutely panned for. So yeah, I mean, it's tough because there was a whole idea. It's been floated around now about like a Snyder verse of the DCU, that he clearly set up with this movie that's, like we said, not happening. And it's really tough because, I mean, it's a lot of what could have been.
If we look at the movies now, the DC movies, all of them can fit into this universe. This, other than obviously there will be some mistakes, some continuity errors. Look at the X-Men movies, there'd be some continuity errors. Other than the Joker and now the upcoming Batman movie, everything else can fit in this. Shazam, because it didn't connect at all. Suicide Squad, because we saw the we see Joker now in this, Jared Leto's Joker, and then obviously Superman, and then Batman versus Superman, and then the Justice League here, Snyder cut, and then Aquaman and Wonder Woman movies. All of those can fit into this, and they seem like they all do. So it would make sense to me to either hard break and we're doing a new thing, or to keep adding on, because all of your movies work in this already. Because they're going to keep going with Wonder Woman and with Aquaman. So what universe do those now exist in?
We're still getting Flash, correct?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. We're getting another Flash. And that one's supposed to be the weird one that shifts things around, I guess. Right? So.
Yeah.
And what's your point about Deadpool? Why you keep bringing in Marvel? You're crossing the streams. What's happening here?
That was a good Ghostbusters reference. Yeah, overall I was happy with this movie. I enjoyed watching it, and I'm glad that we got this like fan movement to release the Snyder cut. I think it's one instance, so don't get all crazy, people. But it's one instance in which fan pressure worked, I think, in a movie's favor, and I am happy that execs bowed to that pressure. Normally, I'm like, oh, quit your whining, like get over it, blah blah blah. But in this instance, like I appreciate it, because I think it made for a richer film, and at least made me not quite as bitter. Maybe bitter is the wrong word, but maybe not quite as angry at the DCU. I'm probably even more bitter that they're not taking a direction I would have preferred. But this movie made me less angry than the Whedon version.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. So we've talked about that before, about like fan, uproar or whatever. How do we feel about that or whatever?
To circle it back, especially about Star Wars.
Yeah. Right. And I think that why this feels good, and I'm usually going to side with this kind of thing, is that it was in favor of artistic vision. It wasn't like
a plot rewrite.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, we didn't like this because we didn't like it. It was the creator of this didn't get to have his vision put to screen.
Yeah.
And so like people wanted to see that vision.
Yeah, it felt like a more of a campaign for Snyder than a campaign for the fans to have their way.
And so anytime, like, you feel, for me anyways, anytime corporate gets in the way and mucks something up, then I'm more in favor of, if there's some sort of fan outcry, that it's maybe listened to. So yeah.
I don't know, obviously, in terms of numbers, we've got a lot of different things out there, but I think overall this was actually a win for not only for HBO Max but for the DCU.
Yep. Yeah, I only was saying with Deadpool and X-Men and Deadpool, I just think that probably like the weird continuity there, like it's kind of on its own, obviously.
Oh yeah, I get you.
And time will tell if they bring that into current Marvel stuff or not. But yeah, they do their weird projects. But
and I kind of like that I can't remember which Deadpool it is, but they make fun of the original Deadpool portrayal. Ryan Reynolds
Wolverine
did.
Origins, yeah.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, they just straight up address it. They're like, no, that's not right. Like, I don't know what this was, but just ignore this. So that it sort of like solves its own problem by just breaking all sorts of fourth wall and just being like, hey, remember this movie? Don't remember this movie.
Yeah. And that's baked into the idea of Deadpool.
Right. I was gonna say it works
so
for
it
Deadpool
works.
as such like an irreverent character that just like does stuff like that. Whereas like the DCU is very like takes itself very seriously and could never pull off that kind of, witty humor in that very specific way.
Yep. Well, in summation, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought that it looked gorgeous. It sounded great. It had, I was stunned after the fact, finding out all the things that they had changed. Just conversations, tonally completely different, 180. I just can't. They managed to get Batfleck back to do some stuff, even though he didn't want to anymore, and like all kinds of wins. It was a roller coaster and awesome. I love Aquaman. I'm wearing my Black Manta shirt right now. It's really cool. I love Wonder Woman, and I was just happy to see them shine one more time in something fun and exciting, even if DC moves in a different direction from here on out. Yeah. All right. Everybody else, let us know what you think of the Justice League Snyder Cut. In the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about Resident Evil Village, and we're going to be talking about Castlevania. Probably have some guests on. Stay tuned for all that stuff.
We're not too far away from Loki.
Yeah.
Coming on Disney Plus.
We got lots going. Maybe we can actually finish Raised by Wolves, and Shane might be interested in talking about that. Yeah. So, yeah. Lots of cool stuff coming. Indeed. So, if you have ideas for things we should talk about that you really love, we'll read it and see if we're interested, and then maybe we'll watch that or whatever too. So let us know on Facebook or Twitter. Go to Twitter and follow us. Take our poll. Vote for me, John.
How dare you?
Answer. And you can interact with us there. Otherwise, here on Twitch, give us a follow. Give us a follow on YouTube. Like, comment, share. And that's about it. Killing the Flower is the band that wrote our theme song, so we thank them. You can take a look at their content on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. So go and do that. I played a little bit with my brother-in-law, Lucas333. That's Lucas with a K on Twitch today. It's usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 something Central Time. So keep an eye on his Twitch page if you are interested in that. And I think that's about it. Work should hopefully work allows, and we'll be back here same time next week. So
sounds good to me.
Thanks for joining me, Andrea. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Salud.